Another day, another Donovan Mitchell update. We said this yesterday's show to lead it off, but it really is the case as Miami in the offseason is already on pins and needles waiting for everything surrounding Donovan Mitchell, as it is assumed that he is the top target for Pat Riley in this front office in this offseason. And we do have a massive update we do need to talk about. But first, we are very, very close to 1,000 followers on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So go give me a follow at Nic_Rohloff. I'm only 43 away, and if we get there from today's video, you know what? I'll say this. If we get there before Monday comes around, we get there over the weekend, I'll do a beer bong on Monday's show. All right, let's get into Adrian Wojnarowski and a Woj bomb, if you will, as he said this yesterday prior to the Nuggets-Timberwolves game. He said Donovan Mitchell is not disgruntled with anyone or anything in Cleveland. In fact, he said to me, I am happy in Cleveland. He emphasized, I am not leaving this season unhappy. I am leaving it more determined. And a lot of people are going to take that as he's happy in Cleveland. He doesn't want to leave. He's going to sign a long-term extension. I'll tell you this right now. I am not moved. And I said the same thing last year as well. If you remember, about a week prior to free agency getting underway in the NBA, there was a lot of rumors about Damian Lillard requesting a trade. The Portland Trail Blazers front office and GM, F. Joe Cronin, said, we're not trading Damian Lillard. That's not going to happen. And everyone told me, well, now you got to move on, pick a different player to try to trade for. And I said, why? If Dame requests a trade, he's still going to be traded. And guess what happened? He ended up getting dealt. So it is not over for Donovan Mitchell to Miami, but I do find it interesting, and we do have to talk about the contract rumors because he is eligible to sign a 4-year, $208 million extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers starting on July 6th. That is once the NFL or the, NBA Finals is over and we have full clarity. The NBA draft will be concluded as well. So what is the resolution here? Well, I'll tell you what the resolution is. We will have a full picture on Donovan Mitchell in mid-July. He either will be dealt prior to that if the Cavaliers want to recoup assets in the NBA draft that's upcoming, or they could wait because this draft class isn't as loaded as other classes potentially coming up in the past years. But if he doesn't sign an extension in July and we're in the August and he still hasn't committed long-term to Cleveland, then I do think we will seriously be having a conversation about Mitchell being traded to another team. But obviously, if he does sign that extension in July, well, it's Jover and Miami will have to move on. But that's the question, right? Will Donovan Mitchell sign an extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers? Will he sign that 4-year max deal? Now, I will also say he is eligible to sign that with whatever team he gets traded to because his bird rights would carry over in a deal. So if he gets dealt, that really wouldn't change his money. But you give me the answer down below. Type Y for yes or type N for no. I think it's a good time, though, to use the rest of today's show after the Donovan Mitchell update to talk through hypotheticals on what the Heat should do or could do if Donovan Mitchell does sign that long-term extension with Cleveland. And I think number one and the top option I would have, it's interesting, but trading for Trae Young. And listen, the reality of the matter is I know a lot of people don't like Trae Young. Some people do love Trae Young. It's fair. Whatever side of the coin you're on, that's cool. But you cannot deny his impact on the offensive end. This guy is an offensive juggernaut for better or for worse. Sometimes not efficient, but he can put up numbers, folks. Over the last 4 seasons, he's averaged 25 points a game in every single year. That's because of his volume and usage rate being astronomically high, but he can take on that load as an offensive initiator. And you see it with his assist numbers too, man. Those aren't just fake assists. He's one of the best passers in the NBA. The efficiency isn't where you'd like it to be, and the three-point numbers aren't where you'd really expect it because you think of Trae Young as this really good three-point shooter. Well, he is a good three-point shooter, but he's not always the most efficient. But if he were to be in Miami, I believe the efficiency would take a jump up. He has never played with a big man like Bam Adebayo. He's played with Clint Capella and John Collins, but they're not in the same tier as Bam. And he's never played with a second option. Well, he would be not. Trae wouldn't be the first option, but you guys know what I mean. Jimmy's the first option, but Trae would lead the offense. He's never played with a guy like Jimmy either. So when the chips are down, he can shoulder the offense in the regular season, be the initiator, be the primary shot creator for Jimmy, for Bam, for himself, for others, during the regular season. And then when the playoffs roll around, where Trae Young has his questions, guess what? You got Jimmy and Bam who have done it before. Now, the only question with Trae Young is, well, can he play defense, and would he fit in Miami's Heat culture? That is a big question, because Trae Young did actually get a little bit better on defense this past season. That's the same improvement that Tyler Herro has made in the defensive side of the floor, where he's not going to lock you up and he's still going to be hunted, but he's doing better at the little things in his rotations, being a better off-ball defender. Those are the things Trae Young can continue to improve on. He will always be a liability in one-on-one situations, but as long as you can get him to be in the right spots and the right times, I can live with Trae Young's poor defense because of what he can bring to the offensive side of the floor. Number 2 on the option list is trading for Brandon Ingram from New Orleans. And I do think Brandon Ingram is going to be dealt this offseason. I don't think New Orleans wants to commit to B.I., C.J. McCollum, and Zion Williamson. So I believe he will be available because they do have Herb Jones and Trey Murphy there on the wing position for the Pelicans. And they might elect to go addition by subtraction and just build their team more well-rounded. B.I. is still one of the better scorers in the NBA, too. Like, he's an all-star caliber player, putting up 21 a game, shooting 49% from the field. There's always the questions if he can continue to do it efficiently on the three-point end. That has really never been his strong suit. He is more of a mid-range guy and getting to the rim, getting to the foul line. But B.I. is still one of the better regular season scorers in the NBA. The real concern that we are having with Brandon Ingram is in the postseason. He has not been good for the Pelicans, and especially in this past series where they got swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round, putting up 14 a game while shooting 34.5% from the field and 25% from three. Like, those numbers won't be sustainable. Now, he did have a good series the year before, or 2 years before, when the Pelicans matched up with the Phoenix Suns, but that is a long time ago, and B.I. just was not able to do anything well. I get he was coming off injury for the Pelicans, but these past playoffs were a concern. And some of the issues I have with Brandon Ingram is he looks unengaged at times. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes, and maybe this is just the offense Willie Green was running in New Orleans, and maybe that's why they are going to end up dealing him. But there was too many times of him just sitting in the corner, not cutting, not screening on the offensive side of the floor. It's like, it's okay, man. Like, if you don't have the ball in your hands, you can still create open opportunities for teammates and make yourself an asset rather than just standing in the corner. Like, we can't be having that if he were traded to the Miami Heat. There's also questions of him being engaged defensively. He has the physical tools to be a good defender, but we have not seen it over his career. It would be a fascinating front court to add B.I. to this group of Bam, Jimmy, and B.I. That's three good front court players that can score the ball, but the question would also be offensively, can they fit? Because B.I. likes to live in the mid-range, so does Jimmy and Bam. All right, 2 more options to get to on today's video, but make sure you are subscribed to the Heat Report here by Chat Sports because we are going to have everything covered surrounding the Miami Heat in the offseason leading up to the 24-25 season, so hit that sub button and join us. Also want to make sure you're locked in for Miami Heat gear. A polo is on sale. Running out of stock, folks. There's only smalls, mediums, larges, and extra larges left, so the bigger sizes are already out of stock. Get yours today, chatsports.com/heatpolo. I'm kind enough to put that in the description and comments of today's video, so get your red Heat polo before they do sell out. All right, number 3, trading Tyler Herro. Now, I will be honest, if you trade for Trae Young or Brandon Ingram, Herro is likely in that deal. But in this hypothetical that we're running through, this is if you don't get these two guys. Oh, I still think you should trade Tyler Herro because I am having a hard time justifying keeping Herro, Jimmy, and Bam as your top 3 players on the team or top 3 players in terms of your core for a 6th season. It's brought a lot of success. 5 years, 2 NBA Finals appearances, 3 Eastern Conference Finals appearances. 80% of the NBA would sign up for those numbers. They would. But for the Heat, where the expectation is to win a championship every year you go into the season, I don't think you can justify this being a core to win an NBA title because it has not worked through 6 seasons, whether it be injuries, whether it be just fit, not showing up in the biggest moments. These 3 have proven they can't get over the hump. They can get there, but they can't succeed. So I think you just need change. And I think Barry Jackson has made a good note of saying this. I know others in Heat media space have said this as well. Like, even if you move on from Tyler Herro, and it's not for some all-NBA type player like Donovan Mitchell, it's just a lateral move, if you can say that. I think it might actually give you a boost because you just need change and a change of scenery. And different players, different energy, different vibes in the locker room could provide you a greater growth. So I don't think it's me calling Tyler Herro a bad player, but if you were to move on from him and just bring in different guys with different skill sets, it might elevate your team just by addition from subtraction. And if you were concerned about, well, if you get Tyler Herro away from this team and you are going to struggle with three-point spacing and scoring from the perimeter, well, you still have Terry Rozier as insurance for that, who, yes, the neck injury and not playing in the postseason, tough look. But he was playing phenomenal basketball for Miami prior to that injury, averaging 18, 6, and 6. Had one of his best games against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the final 2 weeks of the season, and against the New York Knicks. Like, Rozier was absolutely balling, and I think we would be talking differently about the outlook of this Heat team if Rozier was able to play in the playoffs. So if you dealt Herro away for a pick, or you dealt him for two, like $14, $15 million contracts, like on the wing, that can just be a better defender and 3-and-D spacer, I think you might overall have a better team. Before we round out today's video, I do want to get your thoughts on this matter. I went through 3 hypotheticals so far. Which one is the most likely to happen in your opinion? Would it be trade for Trae Young, type TY, trade for BI, type your BIs, and if it's just trading Tyler Herro away, type your TH? All right, the last option that we need to talk about today is, well, if these 3 things don't happen, well, I guess you're only left with running it back, and that would be an utter disaster. I mean, this cannot happen. I'm telling you right now, if the Heat run it back, I will be disheartened, and I will not be happy with the organization. Full transparency. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. If the Heat end up running it back and keeping their same core of Rozier, Jimmy, Bam, Tyler, the 2 young guys who I want to keep if possible, but you need to upgrade the roster, so you might have to use them. Like, I won't be that excited for this upcoming year because this is going to be the same vibes as this past season where people are going to be injured. You're going to be frustrated. The fits. They're going to be able to get over the hump in the playoffs. Like, you cannot run it back. And this option, if you will, would just tell me that ownership doesn't care about winning. They say they do. They say they want to win. But if they run it back and don't look to make it upgrade and just keep the same roster because they know it will be competitive and they know it will make them money, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. That's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you do follow me at Twitter, like I said off the top, where I'm talking about the Miami Heat on a daily basis over on Twitter/X. If we get to 1,000 followers before Monday over the weekend, I am going to take a beer bong. So go give me a follow. I'll see you on the next video. Go Heat.